Hi friends, welcome back. So in today's video, I am going to be sharing with you my experience sewing the Mimi G style 8655. So this is Simplicity 8655. I'm going to go ahead and get into the video and tell you the size that I chose, tell you the features of the pattern, and any alterations and adjustments that I had to do or make with the pattern. So with all of that said, let's go ahead and get to the video and I'll share with you my experience sewing this pattern. So the Mimi G style Simplicity 8655 is a misses pattern with 3 different variations that come in US sizes 6 to 14. So that's the first envelope. And the second envelope is US size 16 to 24. So originally I purchased the 6 to 14 pattern when I was a few sizes smaller, and it was basically perfect. It was perfect for my top. However, for the bottom, I went back and purchased the US size 16 to 24. Now I'm going to do a separate review of the bottoms that I made, which is view B, the crop leg version of the pants. I'll give that review in a separate video. Today, I'm just going to be talking about view A, which is the top that is basically a cover-up. So for the cover-up, I decided to go with the size 14, which is the largest size of the 6 to 14 pattern. Now, when I did my mock-up, I decided to use this fabric from Zulu Fabrics. It's a polyester fabric. It's a rayon fabric that I didn't really care for. When I saw it on the website, I thought it was really fun and cute. And I initially meant to buy the blue version, but they sent me the pink version. But I just didn't really like the fabric. And so, I decided to ask my daughter if it was a fabric that she likes. And she did. She likes the feel of the fabric, and she also likes the print of the fabric and the drape of the fabric. And so I said, fine, I'll use this as a mock-up. And after I finish, I'll give it to her. Since my daughter is so close in size to me, I can generally make garments and then give them to her if the mock-ups are wearable. So it's a beautiful mock-up. I really love the way that it turned out. I really like the style on my daughter, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful garment. Now, I chose this size 14 just to see if this would be a size that I could actually fit. I knew my daughter could fit it because even though we're close in size, I'm a few pounds heavier than her on my top. And so I just wanted to make sure that my biceps and everything could actually fit the pattern. And so I did the mock-up, and the bicep of the pattern has a lot of room. So if you're someone who don't want the extra ease in your sleeves, then I would say go a size down, or just check your pattern pieces and just make sure, just simply because, like I said, it fits wonderful on me. But if you like that loose style, so this is supposed to be a very loose fitting style anyway, because it is a duster. It's not supposed to be form fitting at all. So you might actually don't mind the extra inch or 2 of ease because it's a duster. So just keep those things in mind. It's a very simple pattern to sew. For a Mimi G pattern, this ranks in, for me anyway, one of the highest categories for me in terms of easeability, because usually Mimi G patterns, especially the older patterns, usually come with a lot of pattern pieces. So for this particular duster, you only have your front, your back, and your sleeve. Yep, you heard me right. Your front, your back, and your sleeve. It's a 3 pattern piece pattern. That's all you get with this pattern, and I absolutely love it. And the pants are very similar. You have your front, your back, and then you have your front waistband and your back waistband. So it's a beautiful, beautiful pattern, because you can make an outfit with a Mimi G pattern in less than a day or 2. So I'm really thrilled about that, and I'm really happy that it's very easy, very beginner friendly. Like I said, I absolutely love this duster. So the front duster, as you can see, it opens up, and it has a really long tie that is attached to the bodice. And you're going to be cutting your front pattern piece out twice because you have your left side and then you have your right side. Depending on the width of your fabric, you may have to do a single cut. So that's what I had to do on all 3 versions that I have made. And it was very tiresome. So just make sure when you go into the project that you have a table that is longer than the tails of the ties, or you have some kind of space that you can work with other than the floor. Because if you're making more than one garment like I was, I had to get on the floor and cut out all 3 pieces. And I had to cut out my front piece twice because I couldn't cut them on fold. So just keep that in mind, that it is tedious in that way when you're going to make the cuts. However, it's very easy to assemble and to construct and to put together. I really like the fabric suggestions because you have different fabrics that you can work with for view A. Again, talking about the cover up, we'll talk about view B and C later on. So for view A, you can use challis, charmeuse, cotton lawns, double georgette, and silky type fabrics. So I decided to go with a voile cotton. So this is basically a rayon voile cotton that I purchased from fabric.com a couple years ago. So the original fabric that I made a skirt and a shirt out of, and I'll show you what that looks like here. I purchased it 3 years ago. So I went back and I purchased 2 yards, and then I went back again and I purchased another 2 yards because I absolutely love this fabric. It's just, although it's a voile fabric, and most voiles is very light and you can see through them because of the colorway and because of the drape and because of the nature of the fibers. You can't really see through them. And so I can actually wear my skirt without wearing a slip, and I can also wear my tops without wearing anything under them, but with the exception of this, obviously. But it's a really beautiful fabric. If they still have the fabric on fabric.com or Amazon, I will put that in the description box below. So make sure you check the links, and I will, and then you could go over and check out and see if those fabrics are available. I also used, for the mock-up, I used the rayon polyester type fabric. I did not like that fabric at all. I didn't like working with it. It was very hard to fold. So I did a double fold hem for the ties and for the necklines and all that stuff. And it was very hard to fold the fabric and press the fabric. It just it did not want to press. And it just was unruly fabric. I didn't like the way that it sewed. It just felt like plastic. I didn't like it. And most of you know, I really like my cotton fibers or my rayon challis or my linen rayon blends, or I like to have some type of natural fiber in my fabrics that I'm sewing with. I love my cotton sateens, those types of fabrics. And so anyway, it was a vast difference from sewing the mock-up than sewing this garment, and then also sewing the rayon challis fabric garment as well. So I'll show you all of those versions. So if you haven't seen the polyester one that I'm talking about, I'm going to go ahead and pop a video or image here so you can see what that looks like. Turned out well, but it was a nightmare to sew with. Again, I really like the drape. I like the style. I like the way that my daughter wears it. It's a beautiful, beautiful cover up, and it's beautiful. It's just the fabric is horrendous. So for this one, like I said, absolutely love it. Didn't do anything different except I shortened the sleeves of this one because I was working with 2 yards of fabric, and that's another thing I want to tell you. Make sure that you get what's recommended here for the fabric, the amount of fabric, the yardage, those suggestions. Make sure you get that fabric. So for a size 14, for the size that I made, it's calling for 2 1/8 yards of fabric on a 60-inch wide fabric. If you're working with the 45-inch wide fabric, you need 2.5 yards to 2 5/8 yards of fabric. with all of that said, you need every bit of that. You do. You really do, because the ties are very long. You can't cut them on a double fold on your fabric. And so you're cutting them out each single layer. And then also your sleeves, you have a drop sleeve, and then you also have a sleeve that you're actually adding to that drop sleeve. So you need all that fabric. You really do. You just need all that fabric. Even though you only have 3 pattern pieces, the ties are very long, and so you need every bit of that fabric. So I had to shorten my sleeve by, I think, 1 inch in order for my sleeves to work on this version, because I didn't have enough fabric. So with the rayon challis fabric, now that one is my favorite one. I love the colorway. I love the different abstract ovals or circles, if you will, going throughout the fabric. I love that. At first I thought, I think I might have chosen the wrong print for this. But as I was able to style it with different pants, and then also different accessories and things like that, I really love that one the most. It's a rayon challis fabric that I purchased from Fabric Mart Fabrics. Obviously, it's not around anymore because Fabric Mart gets a lot of dead stock fabrics. So I can't link that at all, but I absolutely love that. It's a rayon challis fabric. It drapes really well. I love the neckline. I love the sleeves. On that one, I was able to lengthen the sleeve back. So not only did I lengthen it by the inch that I took away from this fabric, I was actually able to add another inch as well. So that one looks really well. I really love it. But anyway, those are the 3 different garments that I made with this Mimi G duster top, and absolutely love it. Definitely recommend it. I would in the future possibly lengthen that sleeve pattern just a little bit more, and I think I would like it to come down to my wrist. As you look on the front cover and you see Mimi G wearing it, you can tell it's supposed to come above your wrist, but I think I would like it to come a little bit lower, maybe at my wrist. And I think the next variation that I make, I would probably do that. The thing that I found to be unique about this pattern is the bias binding that you need for the back neckline. Now, you don't have any facing pieces or anything like that to close off the patterns. However, the pattern calls for bias binding for the back of the neck so that you can close off the raw edge of the back of the neck. So you're going to sew that bias binding onto the neckline and flip it inside the garment and stitch it down for the back of the neckline before you attach the back of the bodice to the front of the bodice at the shoulder seams. And then you're going to actually flip over or turn under. Let me see if I can show you. You're going to actually turn under your raw edge here, and you're going to stitch it down again before you attach it to the back shoulder seam here. And so that's how you're sewing, and that's how you're folding over those raw edges to encase those raw edges so that the raw edges don't show. So that's basically how you're doing that. Now, on this garment, I actually forgot to put the bias binding on the neckline in the back, and it was too late because I had already serged the seams together, which took off the seam allowance on my shoulder line. So I was like, oh, darn. So what I had to do is I had to turn under the raw edge going all the way around the neckline. And you can do that. you can do that. You don't have to use that bias binding. I thought that it would come out awkward and that it wouldn't be right because I wasn't able to clip in the seams around the neckline so that the neckline can lay flat, but you can do it and the neckline in the back would not pucker up or anything like that. So you don't have to use that bias binding. I wouldn't recommend it, but you don't have to if you don't want to. That is my review of the Mimi G Style 8655, Simplicity 8655. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you give me a big thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I hope you all have a happy and blessed sewing week. And until next time, my friends, stay creative. Bye.